Hello guys and welcome to this video. So today we are going to uh, install and set up CMake, GCC and Visual Studio Code with Arch Linux because for our CMake setup, well C++ setup actually, with Clangd as the support, it has excellent built-in functionalities for getting everything right in C++. So let's just do that. So real quick, I'm going to install it with sudo pacman-sy gcc and CMake because since I've already installed, it's going to show me a reinstall dialog, but for you have to install it. And just like that, I have it. So now I'm going to go into Visual Studio Code and I'm going to set it up. It's going to be CPP setup, yes. And then I'm going to go dash insiders, since I'm using the insiders build, / tmp / cpp setup. Let me do that. And that's done. Okay, nice. Since we have that, we are going to need to install a few extensions. So for that, I'm going to go over here. Actually, for those who are not really familiar with it, I'm going to go over here. You can press Ctrl+Shift+X for it to go to the extensions tab. So here I am. I'll just hide out the bar since I don't prefer it. Now what to do is we're going to install CMake. I'm using the @installed flag so that you can see which ones to install and which one to not. But since I have it installed, that's why I have the @installed flag. For you, you need to just search CMake and you're going to install the CMake IntelliSense extension and the CMake Tools extension, or generally whichever one you prefer, but for me I'm just going to go with this. Alright, nice. Since we have that installed, we're going to install Clangd for us because the default extension of Microsoft is garbage and not really worthy, so we're going to install that. I have it installed, so I won't install it again. And there should be a pop-up over here to install the Clangd server, but if you don't see it, just press Ctrl+Shift+P and then search for Clangd and then download language server, and that will actually download the server for you to set it up. And this works for both Mac, Linux and Windows, so you can look forward to it. I'll just, for demonstration purposes, I'm going to install it again and I'll delete and reinstall, why not. So let it finish. Well, yes, that's installed. Nice. Now we're going to go to the Explorer tab and I'm going to install it with, so we're going to set up some base files and folders. So to do this, I'm going to go over here and type in CMake lists.txt, and this is going to pop up this window of sorts for, well, yeah, but there should be a window over here telling you to choose which compiler you want to use. So it's going to be something like CMake configure. If you don't see it, you can just go to the command palette with Ctrl+Shift+P and just do CMake configure, and that will do the same. For some reason it doesn't work on my end, but it should work on your end. It's not a huge problem really. Now since we have it, I'm just going to create a base directory over here. So it's going to be source /main.cpp and Oh, okay, mistake, sorry for that. Oh, that's awkward. And that's not working, dang it. Okay, so now we are going to install it. Well, I'm going to set up the base directory with src / main.cpp. And if you're confused about the keybinds, you can just use the new file and do it like this. And of course over here, Explorer, my keybind is a bit different since I have configured VS Code for it, but for you it might be a bit different, so keep a lookout for that, and I hope you don't confuse it. So yeah, so we're going to install. So first we're going to include the header file, the IO stream, and then we're going to set up int main void std cout hello world, and just the classic stuff, the regular classic stuff, nothing too fancy, nothing too crazy. Okay, that's done. Great. Now since we have that base folder, we're going to do is I'm going to tell CMake that we need a minimum CMake version of CMake minimum required, this version. So I will be needing 3.10. I'll be using 3.10. You can choose any other version. Yeah, you need to define it like this. This basically tells CMake that to actually build our program, it needs the CMake version of 3.10 or higher or greater actually. So it can be anything like 3.11, 12 and 13. If you have 3.10 installed, you can actually do it. For me, I can do a CMake -3 version, and I'll see that I have version 4.1.2 CMake maintained by gateway.com CMake goal. Yeah, that's that. Neat. Now we're going to set up our CMake standard, C++ standard. So it's going to be CMake. I'm going to set it up. CMake CXX standard to 17. That's going to be our standard. You can choose C++, I think 17, 18. You can choose C++ 19. There is also 20. There is 23, and so on. You get the point. You can even choose C++ 26. Currently this is the unstable latest version, and C++ 23 was just 2 years ago, so this is the latest stable build of sorts. But for our purposes, C++ 17 works just fine. We can go with C++ 23 for a few reasons, but I will just keep it to C++ 17. And then we're going to tell CMake that we need to make this standard forced. So CMake CXX standard required. Yeah, sorry for that, my cat is yelling at me. Okay, so since we have that, now we are going to set up our executables. So we are going to tell CMake that do this and do that, do this and do that. So let's do it. So we're going to tell CMake to add an executable for us. So it's going to be add executable, and I'm going to specify the binary name, the command that's going to run. So I'm going to call it cpp-setup.app. Yeah, that's nice, I think. No sources. Well, yeah, we need to specify the source. So in this case, it's going to be this folder, right? This folder. So it's going to be this folder. This is our main folder, the root, which is the cpp setup folder. And in there, I'm going to do src/main.cpp, and that will start to compile our program for us. It's very simple. So you can hit F7 to start the build process, and that should build and compile. And then in our current directory, well, parent working directory or print working directory, whatever you prefer, in our print working directory, which is currently /tmp cpp setup, we have a CMake file, which is this. And some of you might not have the compile commands JSON, because that requires a bit of setup. So let me just show it. So it's going to be in CMake, at CMake extension CMake tools, yes. And over there, we're going to search for compile commands. So it's going to be compile commands, copy compile commands, and then we're going to specify where we want it. So this is our workspace folder. So workspace folder being this cpp setup for our current directory, which is this workspace folder. And then we have the CMake commands JSON, which is exactly this. This is needed because CMake actually reads this file and handles the appropriate actions for it. It's just a basic way to set it up. There are much more complex methods for it, but this is just an overview, not generally a whole in-depth video. It's just to get you started on C++ so that you can use it with no issues. And then since we have these, there might be something else that I need to show. Yeah, I think Clangd. Okay, we don't have anything of Clangd, so let me do that. Clangd. Nope, not this one. Clangd. Yeah, this one. Okay. Check updates. This. Nothing really required, but it's all good. We are good. So let's just compile this program since I've shown. And once you've compiled it, you will see the compile commands JSON. It should just work with no issues. That's a plus point. Hopefully it works. And then what you can just do is simply you will have this build folder with your binary in the first place. There's also the compile commands JSON, the same thing as here. Yeah, but this just copies the compile command over here, which is much better and friendlier to use with Clangd, but you get the point. And then we have this file, so we're going to ignore that. To run your program, you can from the CLI. What you can do is /build a.out, and well, it's not a.out. The binary name is cpp setup app, and it will work. So we have a nice little hello world for us. Nice, great. Now there might be something else. So remember that I once said about C++ 20. That's because C++ 20, I believe, has which one, C++20, instead of IOStream there is hash include print. Yeah, C++20 goes in main, and then there is the std print ln hello world. It's just a more intuitive syntax. It's okay, it's not on C++20, my bad. It's on C++23. C++23. Yeah, C++23 it is. It's in C++23. Once that's done, you can pretty much do the same exact thing, and it's just a more easier and intuitive syntax to use. Depending on your compiler support, it might be different. If you're using something like Clangd, well, Clangd, GCC, and MSVC all have the same functionality as of now, but there are some differences. With Clangd, you have all of this IntelliSense autocomplete stuff, and it's very intuitive to use and very simple. It's just not really hard to set up. You can set up in a few minutes and just get on with it because it's Linux. But if it wasn't Linux, then you would have had issues. Well, I'm particularly not a fan of Windows, but if you want a video about this on Windows, I can show it to you. Oh, this actually works on WSL for the WSL folks. This works on Linux, should work on Debian, and all of the distros, it just works. So nothing too crazy. You can just use it like this. But yeah, I will just go with C++23. CMake minimum required of version 3.10. I have set the standard to be true, and I have specified the executable name. I have specified the source file, which is going to be our current folder from this point to over here, because it's actually pointing from here to here, you know, the relative directory. And after all that, we have, yeah, that's it. In case you have something like a header file, you can just do is, let's say, include, and then you have something like I don't know, main.hpp, and then something like #hdef cpp setup, you know. Yeah, there's something like this, some code over here. You can actually just go ahead and link it up. So I'm just going to do is #include this one, main.hpp. This is nice, and we can just link it up to CMake, well, hook it up with this. There are a few ways to do this that you can, that works. Well, both works. One is to do is add include directories of include directories, which is going to be like this, and that's going to be include slash. Yeah. Another way to do this is, I do not really recommend it because it's a bit more tedious and handling it is a pain. I actually always recommend that you use this method, because this one doesn't always work, at least in my experience. So there is another one, which is add target include directories, where we're going to specify our executable name. So it's going to be the cpp setup.app. So I'm just going to cpp-setup.app real quick. Yeah. And then we're going to specify the linkage. I think it's the linkage. I'm going to say private, why not? And then we're going to say include, and that will include it for us. Does it work? Yeah, it works. And it says that it's not used, so don't mind it. It's really not being used, so it's accurate. I'm just going to compile it, and it compiles with no issues at all. You can safely remove this, by the way. Use this when you don't want to specify an executable, or just need something for the whole global workspace or global project. Do that, and then we can just use it like this. It works. You can actually remove it. I think it will throw an error. Let's see. Yeah, it throws an error. Include main HPP file not found. So for that reason, we need to set it up like this, and we have it, and it works. Well, I hope this video was informative. I hope you find it enjoyable. I will see you on the next video, because I think this video has been way too long and it might overwhelm some people. If you have some more recommendations or any videos you want to watch, please comment it in the comment section, and I will see you next time.